Hey guys, Bravo here. I have been posting some of the live videos on my other channel, the main one I've had for years. This is probably going to be the one that I end up doing most of the stuff on in the future, but that was kind of the test, putting this one up also. And I'll be posting on both for a bit, but I'm going to try to separate the stuff. The Bravo Hood is all going to be the dating life advice. The EDC expert's going to be all the tactical training. And then I don't know, Stephen Grush one whenever I don't know, want to do more stuff or something specific just for that. So maybe more personal stuff too. This one though, I mentioned it before in the other videos about doing AMAs. You can ask me anything and you can do it as a comment. You can just shoot me an email. You can post it on the website, however you want, depending on your level of privacy. Send it to me and I'll do my best to get to it. I'm still under the weather, so apologies, but even doing these live streams like this, not everything was set up perfect. It's a huge learning process. Like just doing this is me stepping out of my comfort zone and putting this up here. So I'm so happy that I finally started doing this and putting it up. And even if there's something I look at years from now and like I cringe at, which I'm sure will be the case, then you got to start somewhere. So this is me starting something new. So inspired. All right, here's the question. Again, apologies for the raspiness. Hi, Bravo. I'm getting more confident at approaching women at the supermarket, library, etc. But after my initial opener, some small talk, I run out of inspiration and don't know what to say. For instance, I was in a shoe store yesterday where there was this beautiful girl who was trying out 4 pairs of shoes in a row, and I said, "The black ones fit you really well." She smiled and said, "Thanks." And we spoke for a minute. I really felt she opened up and was positive about me approaching her. So after a minute of talking, which went really well, words failed me. Her last words were that she found it difficult walking with these type of shoes. When leaving the store, I told myself, why didn't you say something like, well, you have to suffer for beauty, and follow up with something like, and you must suffer a lot. But those words didn't come to me, and once again, words failed. Why is it difficult to sustain momentum? In advance, thank you very much. And then he gave me his name. So first off, I'm not crazy about the follow up. Is a lot of guys, this is just kind of like in general Seinfeld jerk store, if you've seen that, where, oh, I should have said this, I should have said this. A lot of times it isn't the best thing. So that one right there, she smiled and said, why didn't I say, well, you have to suffer for your beauty, and then you must suffer a lot. Like, just be more direct. But here's the simplest way to answer that question. Number one, like when in doubt, take a bold step forward. So if you had a good interaction and she seems positive that you approached her, just go for the number. Be like, hey, I got to get going. You seem cool. We got to keep this going. You should give me your number. It's shocking how much that works. Guess what? Before the game was out, before all this pickup stuff was out, that's how guys were getting girls for years and years and years, right? So right there, do that. Go for the number. If you want to make it even better, what I start doing is as I'm talking to her, I'll start, well, as I used to, I should say, past tense. I'm married now. But what I would do is I'd start steering the conversation to a specific DHV date. So demonstrating higher value date. So a cool date, cool place, something where I got social proof there, something where it's great food or I know about it. Like back in the day, it was sushi. Like when I first started in this stuff, 2006, I'd go on tons of dates with girls, especially in Arizona, who had never had sushi before. So then I became the sushi expert and would have to teach them how to do it. So the right way is eating with your hands, not taking bites, all that stuff. So I would teach them. Well, that becomes a DHV date because they're learning something. Also, you're not sitting there talking to someone for like 20, 30 minutes. Well, 5 minutes, order, 20, 30 minutes, get your food, stuff your face, maybe order something else or another drink, get the check, go back to talking. Like that's not smooth. Like smooth is my favorite was shabu shabu, or if you got like Korean barbecue, that kind of stuff. You get some food, you cook it, you eat. You talk along the way, you're cooking, having fun. It's activity. Shabu shabu is kind of the same principle, but they do it in a pot of water like broth. And so that was my favorite. That was my go-to DHV date when I was in California. Don't really have shabu shabu spots. There's a couple out here now in Arizona, but back when I moved back here, there wasn't. Anyways, sushi conveyor belt. That would be fun. Something like that that's different. or going out and doing different food. Like I've always joked about doing the taco tasting trip out here in Arizona, close to Mexico. We got epic tacos. I'm like, oh, we got to find out what's the best taco. Let's pick the top 5 spots or the top 3, and we'll drive to all of them and get one taco and taste test it. And then we'll vote, and then we'll go back to the place that had the best, and we'll eat the rest of our meal. So like that becomes fun. So, anyways, as you're talking, I'll seed this stuff. I'll bring it up. So that way, when I go for the number close, I can do like a callback to it and say, oh, hey, remember I was telling you about the Shabu Shabu place? You asked about it. You mentioned it. You asked her if she's ever had it. And she goes, oh, yeah. You're like, oh, I'm thinking about going there again. You seem cool. Give me your number. We should go get it. So that would be thinking a few steps ahead. And that's where I go with it. But with that said, even if you didn't do that, here's the secret answer to the universe with this. The very beginning, it was after my initial opener and some small talk, I run out of inspiration and don't know what to say. So if you really want to look at this from like a macro perspective, here's the secret. You ask questions. You've already been talking. Ask questions. At the beginning, you're the one talking to her. So you're opening her. You've got to talk at the beginning 100% because she's not doing any. Then you want to try to get it like to like an 80-20 and then 50-50, and then really try to get it to like an 80-20 the opposite way, to where she's talking to you, you're asking questions, she's sharing stuff with you. You know you're doing this well when she starts telling you things like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm telling you this. I just met you. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm telling you this. My best friend doesn't even know this. That's when you know you've really built some rapport and got a connection, emotional connection. She's sharing, she's opening up. So that's what you want to get to, because that's how you connect with someone. I already know about myself. Like I already know everything about me. I don't know anything about her. So I'm trying to find out how cool she is. I'm trying to figure out what she's about. So again, think a few steps ahead. Don't ask a question and go like, oh, what do you do for work? Oh, you're a nurse? Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Like that's not really listening. That's not really taking it deeper. So I always ask why questions. So who, what, when, where, why? What do you do for work? I'm a nurse. Why are you a nurse? But you want to go deeper. Why did you become a nurse? Like, is that something you grew up and always wanted to do? Like, were you always playing like doctor and nurse and taking care of like your dolls and stuff? Or did something happen when you got older and, or when you were growing up? And then when you got older, you decided, oh, I want to be a nurse. Like, that's my calling. So, FYI, that's what I used on my wife. And I'm really curious about that. That's not like some routine. That's me being genuinely curious. And in my experience, like anytime I meet someone who's a cop, someone who's a firefighter, someone who's in the military, someone who's a doctor, someone who has like some cool job, I always ask them, I'm like, did you always, because I'm curious, did you always want to do that? Because a lot of people don't know what they're going to, like a dope job like that, motorcycle. They don't know like that's going to be their future. Some people do, and then they work hard and get there. And so both of those types of people like intrigue me. Did you plan on this and work hard? Like, because that's not what I did. And I'm curious about that. Or is that something you just fell into, or just you came across it one day? Like this is just where you ended up and it wasn't the plan. Because that's kind of like me. So like, how'd you get there? Because that story is going to be the cool thing I'm curious about. So then you're asking a why question, and now she starts telling you. So you can't ask lame questions to get to something deep. So you got to start thinking about, again, a few steps ahead, asking this question, think a few steps ahead, because when they answer it, you can then take it somewhere deeper. So a simple way I do this, like online dating, is I'll say, after we've been talking a little bit, or maybe even the opener, but I'll say real quick, after a long day of work, what do you prefer? A glass of wine, a beer, like a good beer, or like a whiskey? And then they'll either answer with one of those 3, or they'll give me something different. Oh, I don't drink. Oh no, I like this better. I like this cocktail. That's what I get. That's my favorite. And then now I got somewhere to go, because if they don't drink, that could be a conversation. Might not be a great conversation in that instance, but maybe if they're in recovery, but that could be good. Or, oh, I like wine, but I don't really know anything about it. Well, what's your favorite, white or red? And I know about wine a bit, so I can start talking about that. Good beer. Well, now if they come at me with a crappy beer, I can bust their balls about it. And then lead it down a different direction. They come at me with a good beer. Oh, hey, that's classy. That's cool. You're a cool chick. I had a good feeling about you. They come at me with like whiskey or something, which is what I love. Now we got another conversation to go. So a key to this is I don't really ask yes or no questions. I either ask like A or B questions or A, B, or C. Like it's just, like I said, it's not a yes or no. I wouldn't call them necessarily double binds, but it's just asking them a question like, oh, you like TV, movies, Netflix? Like, which one's your favorite after a long work week? And if you're sitting at home on the couch, like, what do you want? What do you watch to decompress? Or are you someone who actually likes getting out of town and being away from everything and unplugging? Or do you have to go to the gym and like work out? So, like, everyone's going to fall into like one of those categories. So, which obviously you've got to like have your own answer ready to go because when you ask a good question like that, they're going to shoot it back at you. So, that's the simplest way is go for the number. More advanced is thinking a few steps ahead and seeding something, which then helps you go to that. And then thirdly, like I said, the macro way is just asking questions, which crazy, crazy concept. Imagine hitting on a woman and then asking her questions, paying attention to what she said, listening, and then asking good follow-up questions. Like crazy concept, I know. When you can do that, it's a superpower. So I don't want to say the name. Thanks for the question. Anything else from anyone else? Shoot it out there and hope this helped you guys. Good night.